have to understand the weather. When you say understand, that means you have to learn about the patterns weather. And you have to understand, okay, it's a rainy season, there are certain things I need to do. So you have to mitigate all these circumstances. Operational procedures, how do you actually go and do the job? There are certain things that need to be done. It's basically like this. If you open a cookbook, okay, you have your ingredients, right? Okay, you have your ingredients, but then you also have the method, right? The methodology of you're gonna put in your sugar, when you're gonna put in your flour, when you're gonna do it, things that. So operations, I always make it like that. You know, you have all the parts there, but how are you going to make it work properly? So that's important. Navigation, of course, you have to understand your maps and everything. And US general knowledge. So these are the topics that are actually put in there, and you are given some time to learn about it, and then you will be tested on it. So the RPTO role is to provide instruction and assessment to the applicant. Once they finish the sessions, then they will actually do the tests and assessments. And that test and assessments are then sent to the CEM to verify. Then only they get the license to actually fly. So there is a process of doing it. All right. So you can see from the screen here the types of licenses that are available. Actually, we're very proud of the RCCOCB, where it can be, what do you call it? It's based on the agricultural part. All right. So what this does is that it elevates our Malaysian to a level where they can not just fly in Malaysia, but also fly internationally. Because with this certificate, they can fly anywhere around the world. Okay. So the regulatory part, the rules and regulations that we have in our country, okay, these rules and regulations don't just fall out from the sky, okay, but there's a very interesting term that I'd like to share with you. The rules of aviation are written in blood. Have you heard that before? Okay, why do I say it? 2 days ago, we had a very bad air crash, right? The Korean Jeju air crash. Now, was that avoidable? Was that mechanical? Was that human error? Or was that institutional error? So we have to look into all this. So when we look at the Jeju, I would say massacre that happened 2 days ago, I say massacre, why? It could have been avoided. Okay, but then the industry learns by mistakes of the past. And that's why we say everything that happens, the rules and regulations are set because of one incident. You know, it's like a learning curve. It's a very harsh learning curve. Because of this happened, it's caused by this particular fault, then they go back to their rule books and they say, okay, now we have to mitigate. How are we going to mitigate? Most of the things are mitigated by training or change in infrastructure. Like the one that happened in Korea, I think to have a concrete wall in front there, I just can't get my brain around that. Really can't get my brain around. What were they thinking? Again, pilot error. Why did the pilot just do one turn around and didn't stay up as long as he could to try to figure it out? Why was the haste in landing? So come back to this. So in 1944, after the Second World War, there was a convention, we call it Chicago Convention, that happened, where all the whole world after the World War, they noticed that they got a lot of aeroplanes in the sky. A lot of aeroplanes in the sky, and there's no rule book. So they created the Chicago Convention in 1944 and came up with this organization called the ICAO, which is International Civil Aviation Organization. And this is where all the countries come together, sit down in one round table and decide what are the rules, what are the standards. Do you know that although we live in a matrix society today, when we talk about height, we always talk about in feet. You notice that we don't say we are 300 meters high or whatever. No, that is not the standard. The standard is talking in feet. But why? Because in 1944, they decided, okay, let's figure it out. You are talking in metric, you're talking in feet, can we figure it out? So of course, that time after the war, Britain and the US were strong powers. So they said, no, 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 it's going to be feet. So that's why we have feet. So things like that, if everyone is on the same page, and there have been accidents caused because of the misalignment of or miscommunication between feet and meter. So it's not a small thing; it's a big thing. So under ICAO that handles the global, the whole world, we come under the European, what do you call it, the European Aviation Safety Agency. If you look at the umbrella, why do we come under ESA? And why we don't come under American? Why we don't come under American law? Why? Why we follow the European and not follow the American? Anyone? Because America has a very robust rule book as well. For drones, they have called 107. But coming back to why do we follow the rules of the Europeans and not the rules of the Americans? Simple, we're Commonwealth country, right? Counter to where we are, we follow the Brits, and the Brits are Europeans, so we just follow. So for the sake of that, our rule book under Malaysia, we follow the British rule book, which is actually under European rule book. So if you look at our rules, as I said just now, it doesn't just fall from the sky, it comes through a lineage. Okay, so the International Civil Aviation coming again. Okay, this is the mission is to serve the global forum of states at an international level. So that's very critical, very important, because because of the nation way of flying, transport, and everything, if you don't have this, everyone will be having their own rules, and then we'll be having a lot of crashes, even more crashes than we do here. Okay. So the ICAO safety is most important in all these activities. Okay. Okay. You can see that. You can see that. Now, have you ever heard of this JARUS? I'm actually jumping to drones already. There is no organization that handles drones in the world until today, you know. So what happened was JARUS was created by a mix of I would say it's not an organization, it's like a movement of people who are passionate about UAV in the world. Okay, so like right now, I think it's been about it's 2024, maybe about, they're still coming together, and there is an understanding, an intangible understanding among the players of all the aviation countries. They have their aviation UAV specialists, they come together and they decide, okay, let's start a rule book on drones itself. So that's what JARUS is. That's why even their name is long-winded. What do you call it? It's joint.
Authorities for rulemaking.
Joint authorities for rulemaking on unmanned systems. It's such a long, because for them, they're not interested in all those niceties. They just want to be very, very, very exact. That's why they put it here. And of course, you look at this will change probably. So the rule book on drones is actually an ongoing work in progress that's happening right now. So what we're seeing now is a combination and compilation of drone rules and regulations. They're supposed to submit something in 2025, but they may extend it. So it's a work in progress, right? Under Malaysia itself, we are regulated under the regulatory framework, and our most recent, which is the CAR 2016 publication, and under regulatory body. So this is how we work. Under the Act of Parliament right now, in those days, it was the Department of Civil Aviation. If you're as old as me, it was always the DCA. Okay, but if you look at the politics of it, when I use the word politics of it, under the DCA it's just a Department of Civil Aviation. You know the word department is the wrong word to use, because Department of Civil Aviation comes under the Ministry of Transport. So that means they are under the ministerial. But as an organization, holding the rule book for aviation in Malaysia, it is too important of an agency to be just considered as a department. That's why in 2016 and 2017, 2018 actually, they enacted the Act of Parliament to convert the DCA into a CAAM. So it's Civil Aviation Authority in Malaysia. So why is it important? Because they need autonomy. Okay, they actually only answer to Parliament. However, in practical sense, you notice Anthony Law always talk as though he's the champion of CAM. So that's a misnomer. A lot of people don't realize that they can stand it. They have their own kahoots, kahunas, what they call it. They the CEO or the president of the company or chairman has the right to supersede everything else. He just answers to Parliament. Okay, so when there are air accidents and things like that, you need to understand that they are important. Okay, so they regulate and they make sure that all the advisories are out and they come up with a list. You see the brown box there? Those are the user guidelines and also the rules for each of the scenarios which are very important. Okay, you have for the UAS, you have for the remote pilot training organization, you have for the rotary wing swarms, you have also for the agriculture. Okay, so that's important. So CM is here. If you look at this picture here, they are always they're actually the overriding authority for anything that flies. So when you ask a question, okay, where does the authority begin? We talk about drones. If I'm flying a drone. So the answer is this, the floor or the ground is not theirs. But once your drone takes off in the air, they are regulatory. So if anyone tells you, oh no, don't worry, the drone is just flying in the Padang or whatever, it's not under CM, yeah, it's mistaken. Because when the drone flies in the air, unless, this is my interpretation, unless you're flying in a contained area in the drone cage, for instance. Because why? Your drone cannot fly outside the drone cage, so you can be exempt from that. So we're talking about CAM, which is the Civil Aviation Authority in Malaysia. They are very important. They look at the airspace safety. JUPAM, which is under the Mapping Directorate, they handle the security part. So in those days, when you have helicopters flying, take picture and everything permit to fly. It was because it was under the OSA, the Official Secret Acts. So I personally have a very thick file in the police in the office in Amman because I do all this. MCMC, whenever you buy any electrical item, you must look for your MCMC logo there. Same like here. If you buy a drone, you must make sure you have your certification here. CGSO is the Chief Government Security Office. They are the what do you call it, the security guards for all the government assets. Okay, so just to give you an idea of what we went through. We went through many sessions and things like that in the CEM. So CEM is talking about airworthiness and flight operations. Okay, so these are the distance rules. Just now I talked about the crowd. So these are actually the actual interpretations from the book. They don't say crowded area. They give you distance. There's a lot of distance rules. How far you need to be away from a drone. Like if a drone is on the floor and it's going to take off, you need a certain distance to be away from the drone. So these are all standard distances. And enforcement and penalties. So this came out recently, about 2-3 years ago, or maybe longer than that. Give you an example. In 2015, there was an incident that happened. Two guys, really clever guys, they went to the airport, KLIA, and they flew their drone when the planes were landing. Oh my God, the planes were landing and they were flying their drone at the edge of the runway to get better video photographs of the drone coming in, photos, video images of the plane landing. Now that's the most dangerous thing that we've done. This of the drone coming in, photos, video images of the plane landing. Now that's the most dangerous thing that we've done. These two guys were hauled up, but they were presented to court, but then this didn't exist then. Okay, so they escaped. They could have, if they do it today, they will be fined about at least 50,000 ringgit or jailed for 2 years minimum. So there's a lot of things that happen that need to come out because of the inadequacies of the system. That's why if you talk about drones right now, drone tech, we are for any new technology, even with AI, you're talking about AI or any other new technology, robotics technology, you will see the regulations are always trying to creep up, follow behind. And so when things happen, then the regulators then will do things like this. Okay? So these are all the briefings that we had that I was involved in with the CEM to discuss the ecosystem and also the management of regulatory requirements. Okay, we talked about the main thing was actually point number 3. We talked about the UTM, which is the Unmanned Aircraft System Traffic Management System. Do you know that right now there isn't a system, even until today, there isn't a system to know that Cynthia is flying that side, May is flying that side, Susie is flying the other side. The government does not have an air traffic control system to actually manage that. But they're supposed to be in a pipeline. And this is a slide. I always show this slide because can you look at the year? Look at the year. What's the last one? 2022. This was their promise in 2019. So they are supposed to come out with the trials ready in 2021, but never happened. So this whole thing, at least we can say that okay, this is still a work in progress, right? But they were very what do you call it? They were very sure that they will be able to achieve this, but it didn't materialize. Of course, I give them credit. Okay, COVID happened lah. Okay, COVID happened. So hopefully within maybe the next 3 years this will materialize. Okay. So what does the UAS traffic management system do? It basically is a one-stop center to handle everything. When I say everything, it means that whatever you need to do, whatever applications you are doing, any management system, all relates back to the main system. Your navigation, your network, your maps, agency permits, the pilots themselves, weather information, all this is integrated just like a typical air traffic management system. So if May is flying today, okay, if I am the control, I will be able to know she's flying now, when she's flying. And I also have a memory, a record of her flying. So like say for instance, if May is flying in Wang Sa Maju and there's an incident that happens in Wang Sa Maju from something or whatever, I can always come back and trace her back. But the point of this is that simply put, there's a lot of drones that are flying around in the air. 2 nights ago, I was watching the fireworks in where I was staying in the curve near Singapore. I could see 3 drones flying in the air because the drones are flying to record the fireworks. Okay, so you get a lot of this, and every day, any day, I put this to you. Go to KLCC, go to the Petronas Twin Towers. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, just look up there. You see some mosquitoes flying around the what do you call it? The towers. And how high is the towers? How high is the tower? Give me estimate how high the towers you think?
No.
Cynthia? Shut up.
100 meters.
Cannot know what meters, huh? Feet.
400 meters, so it must be about 1,200 feet.
Correct. So the Twin Tower is about 1,400 feet, if I'm not mistaken. So they were flying about 1,500 feet
They
around
say
there.
they use that for security. No.
The KLCC has a major problem. The major problem is that there are a lot of people flying around KLCC area without permits and flying above the permittable height.
Right.
So, and most importantly, KLCC area, especially Petronas Twin Tower area, is a restricted flying zone. You're not supposed to fly there. So my question now is this, where's the enforcement?
Yeah. I remember I asked that shouldn't we say the security?
No, they do nothing.
But doesn't the EPI call, whatever, don't come to the discipline device in these areas?
It's too, they don't use it. I mean, the thing is this, it is actually not impossible to actually deploy a team, and all they need to do is to catch one operator, penalize the guy, and then show it to the world. Because when people see that there's a certain amount of enforcement, then people won't do.
No, this
Silly
is not
things like
danger,
that.
but
It's dangerous,
I
you know.
remember asking and they say it's security.
Security doesn't fly. I know it for a fact. So the person who told me that is wrong. The problem is that I can give you an example. Say like if you're a drone operator, and that drone operator is actually standing behind you, okay, and let's just say he's let's just say for this is a building lah, okay. Now he's flying and then he's taking pictures of this little frontage here, and he's getting carried away. So he flies around. Wow, I like the shot, the video shot. Wow, it's really nice. Fly. What happens is when I come here, the drone is behind the building, right? So what happens? Line of sight, and I do not have any more remote control. I don't have any more connection because the building is blocking my signal, my frequency. So what happens is that now the drone has a feature in it, return to home, RTH. Okay, so the drone is here, the guy is behind you. So what does the drone do? He comes back.
Straight.
But the drone doesn't know the building is here, right? So that's how the drone crashes into the building. Many times this happens, and when this happens, the building gets hit, the drone gets lost, and if the drone falls on someone, if it's a big drone or whatever, even a drone which is 500 grams, okay, how heavy do you think this is? I'm not really good at estimating. Would you say it's about 500 grams? I mean, you all make cakes, right? You all
Kilo.
Susie, help us. What is the height? What is the weight? Okay, let's say 600 grams. Now, I'm not really good in physics, but falling from a height of 1,000
It's going to
feet.
increase.
Okay,
Equals
the force equals what?
Mass and acceleration.
Can I say that the equal sign will be in blood?
Yeah.
If it hits someone? Okay. I did some photography work, I remember, of the KL Tower when they were building it in the early 90s. And there were many incidents of during the construction period, a lot of building material fell off from the KL Tower, killed a lot of people. This is all you don't hear.
But it is true.
It happened because the company I was working with was Ways and Freestyle. There's a German company. They were doing the construction of the Twin Tower. Not Twin Tower, the KL Tower.
Yeah.
And debris, just fall down. Very.
And it's also considered not really much debris if you consider, let's say KLCC,
Yes.
much more debris.
Oh, KLCC, the most famous one was the guy who actually poked his head. He was an engineer now, of all things. He poked his head into the lift, waiting for the lift to. He was waiting so long, so he's wondering when is the lift, because the construction lift is under the name of Alimak. So this Alimak lift, they are construction lifts. They're just basically a metal cage. So that there is no sensor, whatever as you see here. So the thing, you just open, you put his head there, and gone. Sad, very sad. Okay. So now, coming back to this, there are fees and there are charges here that will be adopted. So being a drone pilot, you need to adjust for costs. It's not just about, oh, can you do a flight for me and take a picture? Oh, sure, no problem. But if you're taking money from anyone from the job that you're doing, you actually elevate yourself from being a recreational drone pilot to a commercial drone pilot. The moment you take money in your hand or any sense of reward, you are a drone pilot in a commercial respect. So if that's the case, you have to raise your level of competency, you have to raise your level of getting insurance and actually paying the fees that's required of you. So in the new CAM regulations, we have 3 different categories that they specify. One is open, second one is specific, and third is certified. So generally, we play with mostly in item number 1, which is the open category, where you have a certain set of rules. Under specific, good example would be the agricultural drones that fly. That come under specific category. Why do I say specific? Why do I come under specific? Because under the open category, you can have drones only up to the level of 25 kilograms in weight. That's the maximum. There's a ceiling weight. The drones that are flying, that I showed you those pictures just now, right? The agricultural drones pictures. You know how heavy they are? With a full load, almost 50 to 60 kilograms. Really, really heavy. You know why? Because there is the payload. The payload is all how many gallons of fertilizer, so it's heavy. So when they go up, they go up. But one thing about the agricultural drones that they fly, they don't fly crazy heights. They fly maybe 10 feet, 12 feet up, because their purpose is only to spray. And if they fly over, if you're talking about plantations, besides the sawah paddies, the paddy fields, the plantations, they fly just above the tree line of the, let's say, the oil palm trees. So why do we say precision agriculture? It's just precision agriculture is basically, as I say, they fly in a pattern that is fixed, that is programmable. So just imagine if you look from a map point of view, the trees that are around in the terrain, you look at them as dots, right? They're like dot. How many trees you have? Maybe in a 10 or maybe in a 1,000 acre, 1,000 acre space of land. Maybe you have about 3,000 trees, all dots. So just imagine the planes or the drones can take the imagery of it, plot each tree on its software, and then when it sends out its agricultural drones, the drones are able to just go to each dot and let go its fertilizer. Shoot, let go. So it saves a lot of material costs, and it saves a lot of wastage as well. So the drones will actually release into the most, and this actually is the best way of delivering fertilizer, especially through the core of the tree. Because if you look at the fronds, how does a palm tree grow? It grows from bottom, it goes up, then goes like that, right? So the fronds is coming out, is at the center core. When you deliver medicine through the top, there it goes right through the tree. And it's the most efficient way of actually delivering that. Okay. So coming back to open, this is what you guys are doing now. So the maximum takeoff weight, MTOM, less than 25 kilograms, and it has a height limitation of below 125 kilograms, and it has a height limitation of below 120 meters. Okay, so VLOS does not carry any dangerous goods. What does VLOS stand for?
Visual line of sight.
That's right, visual line of sight. Just now I said LOS, right? So now they have a VLOS, so visual line of sight. Or they have now a BVLOS, so beyond line of sight. So they got some different permutations on that depending on it, and it cannot be autonomous. It has to be remotely controlled. Okay, autonomous. When you're talking to the authorities, when you use the word autonomous, they get very scared. So even I know for a fact that a lot of systems that are running in Malaysia that they actually can run autonomously. However, they tell the authorities that there is remote control because when you say autonomous, then you're talking different language really. Okay? So specific, as I mentioned just now, so they actually have a greater risk. The currency that the authorities look at is how much risk does your operation cover? Okay, if you have a bigger, if your drone is small, okay, you can only cause so much of damage. But if your drone is bigger, it can cause a bigger amount of damage. So that's why they say that. And this is the introduction of what we call SORA, which is a a specific operating risk assessment. Okay, so like for the special UAS projects, they have this. So this is the poster on it, determining what classifies under this specification. So this could come under security and surveillance if you have, say like if you're flying at night. So you have to be specific because actually drones they don't really like you to fly at night for obvious reasons, because more things can actually happen. But if you're flying it as an operational, especially for security and surveillance, you cannot just fly daytime, right? All the bad guys come out at night. At night. So you have good technologies that do just fly daytime, right? All the bad guys come out at night. At night. You have good technologies that do come out from drones, which are the infrared and they can see, they can do tracking using AI and everything. So the fact is they need to fly at night. So you have special operational requirements. You have to go on the special UAS projects under this and do what we call the SORA. SORA is the specific operating risk assessment. So if you look at this, if you're an insurance guy, you understand this very easily. Okay, so these are the risk models. They have two types of risk model. One is the ground risk, one is the air risk. So you can see here from the flight geography of here, contingency, volume, and the ground risk to the areas. This is a very good graph to actually show the operational air risk of even from the air. So you have that model. Okay. So the SORA process is a very long-winded thing. The fact of the matter is that if you're just flying drone or whatever, you don't even think about this. So this is a very advanced level of actually operating as a proper flight operation. So those who actually do this actually earn the big bucks in drones. So you have to actually do this process, you have to understand how you're going to run particular projects. What the CM, what the authorities want to know, very simply is this. You fly your drone, what are you going to do with your drone? Tell me your story. So that's why you see the concept of the operations is important. Number two, determination of your ground risk. So very important determination of ground risk. Let's say, for instance, if you're flying a drone, if you want to fly, let's say you want to fly on Tuesday, your flight. So you're being a good guy. So you go and fly. You go and do a site recce of the place. Okay, but site recce I go on a Sunday. Is that right? Is that right? I go and do a site recce on a Sunday, and I'm flying on a weekday. So I think by the look on your faces, you already know that the situational awareness, the things that happen on a Sunday is very minimal versus things that happen on Tuesday. It so happen that there are cases where there's a school, no? There's a school on the side there, okay? But he goes on a Sunday, he goes, oh, okay lah, I can fly, no problem. So on a Tuesday, he goes there, he sees school buses, he sees the kids running around and down. Now, is it safe to fly during that hour? So these are the things that we look into it for determination of ground risk. Determination of air risk you know that when I say average, do you know the likelihood of having bird strike is very high for drones?
Yeah, that was,
Very, very high.
that was the Jeju issue lah.
Yeah, correct. That is a Jeju issue. But in here also drone, airstrikes happen. You know why not? Especially the eagles. The eagles go after your drone
Yes. Yeah, because it did.
because they look at your drone as another flight risk, and then hey, you're coming to my territory, so you're coming to. I was flying from over the what do you call Titi Wangsa range across from one end of the peninsula to the other, the helicopter. And when we flew at the tip of the Titi Wangsa range at the mountains there was an eagle that was chasing us. Couldn't believe it. In a helicopter, because from them it's like I don't care who you are coming into my territory. Yeah. And the eagles, they're quite big, If you put your two hands up there, they're actually very big. And they could have done damage if they crashed into us, but we kind of like stayed away from them. So these are the things that we have to look at. So strategic mitigations employed. You know your risk already. Okay? You know your risk. So whether you fly here or you fly there or fly on a Tuesday or flying on a Sunday or whatever, the differences will always occur. People understand there's certain level of risk. So what do you need to do? You need to mitigate. You need to explain to the controller that yes, I know I'm flying I'm flying at night, but I have night certification. My training provides me with night certification. So that's what we call mitigating circumstances, right? Or I fly in this area at this particular height. I have enough of knowledge of the area. So you have to prove all this. And when you're signing off to the assessment, you yourself have to be the what do you call it, devil's advocate. No? They ask you to be a devil's advocate by stipulating what do you see that could happen. So you have to foresee a lot of things. Then when you foresee a lot of things, you have to say that, okay, if this happens, I will do this. It's as simple as that. Okay? So you have to do other, what do you call it, specific assurance, integrity level, identification of operation safety objectives. So basically, there's a whole bunch of laundry lists. That is a flow chart, by the way. Very easier. So if you submit all of this, almost like a screenplay, I think, a very big document. And if the authorities are not satisfied, they'll bounce it back to you. You can see this flow chart. They'll bounce it back to you and they say they are not satisfied with what you've given. So it's just like when you're entering your data in and then you're not completing the fields to the expectation of the authority, they'll bounce it back to you and ask you to actually repeat it. Okay? Let's see. So my it won't advance.
Yeah. Frozen.
Okay. Okay. So that is the three. The two actually I explained. The open, one is open, one is specific, and this third one is certified. So actually the certified one actually we don't have to talk about it as much because this is going into the million and zillion cost here, where this is very high, this is very much on the what do you call it, on the bigger aircraft. Alright. So you can see here in this chart here, very easily spelled out. I'll share the documents with you all so you can have this later. Right? So the latest development right now is that it is more, the concept of the new regulations are more operational centric. They are more risk based. Okay. So SKM and MCFC. We talk about radio control, remote control. When you buy, let's say you buy anything from any electric devices or whatever, you need to have the MCFC device. So this idea here is that when you're buying a drone, you must ensure that that you have the sticker as well, because that sticker will ensure that you are certified. So there are a lot of people who buy drones without the FCMC sticker, and technically it's illegal. So they have to ensure that all of this is important. And this is the birthday cake. I call it the birthday cake in the sense that when you have different devices, everyone is also using the radio frequencies, you know. So you just cannot use the frequencies as you deem please. So what the regulator has given is that they have given what do you call it, section that you can use it. You get the second one, 2.4 gigahertz and 5.7, 5.8 gigahertz. The 2.4 gigahertz means that your controller has to be 2.4 gigahertz. 5.7, 5.8 is actually for your video streaming. So this is to ensure that you do not have any clashes with any other, what do you call it, any other drones, any other devices. Like say for instance your GSM network, our GSM network is what? You know? Our GSM is actually 900. So you get so that means if you have like drones that are controlled with 900 frequency, it is not allowed because it clashes with the existing network of your smartphones. Okay? So the reason why this serial is important is because every single drone that you buy has the triangle and it has a number, serial number attached to it. That certified serial number needs to be included in this document. Now, this is part of the document for you to actually put in your data for your specifications of your drone. If you don't have this data, your permit cannot be approved. Okay. So coming to Japan, I'm only interested in what do you call it? Japan, here I have figure here, 1885. So this is I think the oldest government agency in this country, because they come under the mapping directorate. You know, I would argue that this is the oldest, because those days they used to come in with the British, used to come in with the making maps and doing the topographic maps and everything. So Japan also has the responsibility of actually collecting the data, creating maps, and maps, especially the topographic maps, the 150,000, 1 to 25,000, 1 to 10,000, those are actually under the OSA. So you cannot just go to the shop there and just buy maps, especially certain areas. Although you can buy certain amount of maps, there are some maps that are certain that do not allow you to buy because it comes under, like, especially the 1 to 10,000, 1 to 5,000 maps, topo maps are very classified in that sense. So to buy a map, you have to go through your surveyor. Only the surveyor can go and buy on your behalf. Then also you must have a good reason. Let's say your land is in that area, so you have to give a letter and you say that. So this is all what do you call it, restricted. They like to use the word restricted. So when aerial photography came about in the 1950s and 60s and 70s and 80s, there used to be people doing aerial photography. They go up in a fixed wing plane. The camera used to be as big as this table in front of you, okay? And they used to shoot what do you call it, photographs. And the images of the photographs will be as big as an A4 sheet. That's a negative. So the machines are big. So the purpose of it is that when they take the photographs, then they put them together and do a stereoscopic measurement. So then they used to do that in the olden days. Now, of course, now they use drones, okay? But the mapping directorate still has the power, okay? This is the power that's vested to them. This is the power that's given to them. This document gives them the passport to actually say that whatever permit that you fly, you need fly. Because if you're a normal citizen, you say, by what power? Then they'll show you this is the power. So they're only interested in national security. And it's interesting, you see this logo here? This is their logo, BGSP, Bahagian Geospatial Pertahanan. So every time when I do a permit, okay, these guys although they are Japan, but the unit that I go and see in Japan, they're actually military intelligence. So these guys are actually military intelligence guys. They are seconded from UNDEP. So when I see them, they are actually army officers. They are either warrant officers or captains or lieutenant captains, colonels, whatever. So when we pass our permit application to them, they will do two things. They will send our personal details to the police and to check our background. And it's only on a security level. The other one is CGSO to see our national security. So you see BGSP here, they work with the police and with the CGSO. So the CGSO, they are actually a higher branch of actually security officers. So this is a hard part. And you look at this spaghetti. Can you figure this out? I did this slide because I was so freaked out. Now, if I want to fly, let's say I want to take a flight for a client, and I want to fly in, let's say, KLCC area. These are the questions that they will ask me. If I need to go to Japan, and I need to provide the purpose of my application, my company details, my drone type, my date of flight, my camera specifications, pilot details. Okay? Then the location, I have to see, is it a restricted or non-restricted area? Let's just say that I'm flying, just now I said Putrajaya I cannot fly, right? So let's say I get a government contract, which I did last time, and I have to fly, take pictures of the mosque. This is a real case study. So I have to go to CGSO, okay? Go to CGSO and give them all the details. So basically, I have to take the contract to say that they have actually engaged me to actually shoot the mosque, but I have a very good reason for it. So although I cannot fly in Putrajaya on a normal day, but because of these circumstances, they allow me to fly. So when I have that, then I'll go to Japan. When I go to Japan, I have to do the whole thing again. And after we finish this, then we go to CAM. So Japan will vet on the security side. Then go to CAM. CAM will look at the operational and airspace safety part of it. Okay. So if you're flying as a local, it's quite straightforward. But if you're a foreign photographer, even more headache. Why? Because you have to get push file, and you have to get even more details. And mind you, if you look on the top right corner, just to make it more interesting, if I go to Sabah or Sarawak, I have to get a chief minister to sign up on it. Sabah and Sarawak are different countries. My wife is from Sarawak, so when I go to Sarawak, I take a passport. Those days. But now I just give IC. But the point here is that if you go to Sarawak to do any photography, filming, or whatever, you need a letter from the chief minister's office. So once you get that, then really you can go back through the process. So it's a very, now you know why we need a one-stop center, why we need the UTM, which is so important. For the process is here, look at it. Once you go through this, you go through different levels, okay? These are just different levels before you can get. And then important also for location. Say if you're shooting any location, you need permission from the landowner. You just cannot suka go and shoot. You need to get that. Now in Japan you can do it online, which makes it a bit simpler. So that makes it a little bit palatable. Okay, but it's still almost like the process that we went through just now. Same thing. Okay. So when we get to the final approval from Japan to get us an issue, then we have to come here. Okay. So basically, Japan takes 7 days. CEM takes 14 days. So at the end of the day, you're looking at a month for any approval, any permit to be done. Now, in your father's time, in my father's time, if you're applying for anything, okay, why do we need to go through 21 days? We are in the age of internet. We're in the age of online, everything and all. I would have an expectation as a customer, 3 days maximum. Get everything done now. Why can't we? We can send a man to the moon, we can't do this. we send the man to the moon also less time, right? So this is the problem. The problem relates into the different organizations that we're dealing with. So these are the things that we work with. Different organizations, different agencies report different agendas from their respective ministries, and that's the problem. So in a typical form, like what you see here, this is the CAM form of application that you have to put down your details and you have to put down your personal information on how many hours you have flown. It's like a report of what you've done. Stipulate, this is an example, the serial numbers here, all the details of the aircraft, the details of your, what do you call it, your cameras, your sensors and everything. And this is a nice slide which I did, which actually detail out how we fly. So remember I said just now, everything that we do is about risk assessment. Okay, so we have a chart here. From this level, pre-flight, you have to explain. Susie, you have to explain the story. What is pre-flight? What are you going to do? Okay, then after that, take off. Okay, what are you going to do? Then when you fly your mission and before you descend, so all these red dots here, you have to explain, what you are going to do. And then when I say you explain, that means you have to explain the phases of flight, which is this, for instance. You have to you have to identify the hazards or the potential incidents that may occur. Like say, just now I said bird strike, right? So sometimes especially if you fly in Seberang, Prime, on the way to Penang, there's a lot of sawah paddy fields. There's a lot of big birds, What do you call those birds? No. The like swan, the big one with the long legs.
Pelicans.
Like pelican, but smaller than that. Well, do you remember? Bangau or Tungau? I don't remember. Bangau. Those fellas are big, Those big and tall, and when they fly in flocks, your drone 100% will be wiped out because they are very big when they fly. So those are big things. So you have to identify the potential hazards that you will fly. Then you have to put in your consequences, Oh, if this happen, this may happen. You have to identify that. Then after that, you have to say what caused it. But then there is a second last box there. You must say what are the controls that you put in place that you need to mitigate against. So you know that these birds they fly in the morning. Only in the morning they fly because they are migratory birds. They fly all the way from Vietnam. They come down south to Malaysian Peninsula. They do it on an annual basis. So you have to understand their flight path when they're doing it. So sometimes when they fly in the morning, they like to fly in the morning. But in the afternoon, after 2, 3 o'clock, they like to just chill, just sit on the ground and just chill. So that could be a mitigating circumstances. You may say that maybe I fly in the afternoon. It's a better hour to fly because then I mitigate against bird strike. So you have to use your brain. You have to really think about what things can happen. All right. So of course the additional risk assessments. So this you can see this form I showed you in the graph. I actually extrapolated it from this chart here. So you see the risk here, pre-flight takeoff. What's the hazard? Close proximity to Subang Airport. I did one shot in the Arun Damansara here. Then here, what are the consequences? Could be mid-air collision. Could be small aircraft flying. Okay, so these are the things that we need to look at. Then we have to inform the Subang ATC. So sometimes when we fly, before we fly, especially Subang area, we have to pick up the phone and literally physically contact our, excuse me sir, this is my permit number and I'm flying this, I'm operating within the next 15 minutes takeoff. So they know that we are actually taking off and whenever we inform them. So it's almost like a real deal. And these are the things that a lot of people don't know. A lot of people think, suka-suka, they just go and fly. Yeah, that's the easy way of doing it. But you see, what happens when, as I say, when everything hits the fan, then people will be asking you, who is liable, who is the one that you're going to look out to. So all these areas here. This is another graphic I did. You have to be good in GPS when you're doing this. Okay, you have to work with the Google Earth. I work a lot with Google Earth, and you can see there's 4 boxes, right? Green box, yellow box, red box, and blue box. So what I need to do is I need to provide the location. Okay, the green box constitutes my operational area. So why is this important? Any idea why this is important? Anyone? Cool. Why is this important? Why is it important for me to do the box and not just one box, 4 boxes I have to do? Okay, let me explain. The green box represents the area of the 4 points. It's a rectangle. So there are 4 points. So there's 6. I have 6 zones here. 4 zones here from green, yellow, red, and blue. So the green zone means this is my operational area. The height that I'm operating would be below 400 feet. Okay, and the markers, the GPS markers will be in 4 quadrants, the 4 corners of it. So can you visualize in your head a shoebox? A shoebox, okay? And put that shoebox, visualize in 3-dimensional, a shoebox over this green area. Okay? So this is my operational height. But I have 3 other zones to determine my buffer zones. So if I'm operating out of this area, I know I'm in trouble. But if I'm operating here, I'm illegal already. So whenever I fly in this zone, I have to submit a flight application, and that application will be vetted by the authority. They'll see that okay, William is flying here on 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the evening. So this shoebox, the ATC will use the blue as a shoebox for this area. No one can fly in this area, in this shoebox, for an hour. That means this area between 4 to 5 p.m. is Williams area. So they will notify what we call a NOTAM, a notification to airmen. They'll send out the circular to all the aerial operators, the airlines and everyone else, that there is a drone that's operating in this shoebox area. So stay away. Stay away. So that means this is the reason why this is important. So I use the GPS coordinates using Google Earth to determine and define the quadrants to fly. So this is actually very important. And it can be done online. So this is another session which we can do later and to see how to actually do the online version. So Google Earth, under Google Maps, Google Maps, Google Earth is also a very helpful thing to use. So we do use this to determine our quadrants. So when we fly, for that hour, it's Williams area. This is what I did, another one I did in town. I can't remember where this is, though. Somewhere in here. So sometimes it's really challenging getting all these permits in order. This is another one. So sometimes it's not just rectangle, sometimes it's just follow it's not like 4 points, I do a polygon for this. Okay. So then at the end of it, there is a checklist that we give. So the checklist, we have to give our IC, our registration certificate, the pilot's IC, whoever that's involved in the flight, and also details, all the other details, including most important, the permission letters. So like say for instance, if I'm flying, if I'm flying in a government facility, I need to know who owns the government facility. Like the one we did in Putrajaya, the mosque. We have to ask the mosque. Okay. Then we have to ask, I think Jakim, they were running that. Then I have to ask the JKR. because the owner of that mosque is JKI. So you have all this, then somehow we have to ask from the from CGSO. So sometimes you get a lot of letters how to do the permit in 3 days. Sometimes it's difficult, but that's the way it is. Anyway, this is when we see this already, we're green, we're very happy already because we got the actual permit for Japan and for the ETC. So you can see that all these organizations make for a better and safer flight. Okay. All right. Let's. Do you want a few minutes? What's the
I'm
time?
gonna check it. Say gonna go through all.
Okay. I can go right through. Just you guys. All right. Let's talk about drone insurance. Do you know there is a certain thing called golf insurance? Have you heard of that? So in 2016, I was not satisfied because how can there be availability of golf insurance, but there is no availability for drone insurance? That means what happened is that a lot of our members were flying without any protection. Is that right? So what I used to do, I used to knock on doors. I used to go around to all the big public listed insurance companies and ask them to actually look in for drone insurance. One key incident that happened was this guy, 5-year-old boy, fractured his forehead because the drone fell on his head. He was riding in a motorbike, He was a pillion rider, and what happened was he got cut. He laceration from his forehead right down to his ear. Okay, but this one was not flown by this guy. It was flown by a aeroplane, the RC. But still, look at the damage. You look at this and you feel this is crazy. And what did the father say? The father said he's going to sue the pilot. So, from a point of view, from the operational point of view of the pilot itself, things happen. Okay, even if we do an event, so you have event insurance. But at that time, there was no drone insurance. So we managed to find a company to actually look after the public liability, which was more important. Then we have the drone hull cover as well. A lot of pilots sometimes I really want to squeeze their necks. Because why? They're interested to have drone coverage for their own drone. I say, you take your drone and throw it down the toilet, it doesn't matter. But if your drone causes injury or damage to someone or property or third party, you're gonna be bankrupt because the guy will sue you left, right, center. So you need that. Even for lawyers also, you got legal insurance or whatever, like doctors, right? Doctors also they have, right? So drone pilots. So when I went to the companies, this all these public listed companies, especially the insurance companies, they come to the meeting with their actuarial science executives and everything, and they'll say, okay, show me a spreadsheet, show me the figures of this and everything. I told them in no uncertain way that I said this is a basement, we're at the basement of this industry of drone technology. So there are no figures here. So I was very blunt with them, and I told them, I said, it's your responsibility. You are an insurance company. You have to build something, a package. You have to craft a program for the drone pilots. A few of them didn't want to because they didn't have numbers, but one company came through, so we had that. So later on, after that, the others started coming in. So this is where we come in and we really squeeze the industry and tell them what's needed, because for the protection of the drone pilot is important. So now we have this drone insurance right now. Okay, this is one of my friends who is actually running this drone insurance. So this is now you can actually just buy the public liability drone insurance. You pay as a company, you pay maybe 2,000 ringgit for 1 million coverage for 1 year within Malaysia. Now, isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth it? You think about it. 2,000 ringgit to be able to sleep at night, knowing that you, whatever job you do, if you feel that if some jobs, especially like my other friend, he does a lot of jobs for Hollywood, and they do it here like what's that movie? The Asian Crazy Rich Asian. So I did that job and with my friend, and they brought in their big cameras and their big mounts and everything. So we had to actually raise up a special insurance to 5 million US dollars. But this is the Hollywood productions. So we have to raise it. Point is that must have insurance. What level of insurance is up to you. At least must have. You cannot not have. Alright? Okay, let's talk about drone delivery. Just now we talked about transport, right? Human, what do you call it, drone transport. Okay? Nice line, right? We are about to enter the golden age of drone delivery. Okay? Alright? Drones are shifting from a hyped up sugar technology that can solve every challenge to a tool that can allow us to meet specific needs. Okay? So, drone delivery at its best. This picture here, delivery is at its best. Why? It is delivering crucial medical aid. They've been doing this for years. The company called Zipline, they've been doing this for years in Africa, sending out important medicines, emergency medicines. This is before COVID, all right? But what they can do in Africa, they cannot do in KL. Okay, you look at the rural part, the urbanization part. What makes sense? What doesn't make sense? If you take a drive in the African desert, you probably reach as a crow flies maybe half an hour, but if you drive maybe 2 hours, something like that. So this was very good because this delivery system worked very well. And in Ghana, during COVID, they used to actually distribute the PPE samples here. And I say during COVID, after the second or third week of COVID, in Malaysia, we were contemplating actually using the COVID samples that were taken from everywhere and for it to be flown to the hospital Sungai Buloh. Sungai Buloh Hospital was the station to test the COVID samples that time. This is 2020, the height of it. But we were denied by the CAF because carrying hazardous material, the risk was just too high, so they didn't allow that to happen. But coming back to the zip line, you can see here, they save so many hours and also the cost of saving. And this is how they delivered it, no? The zip line, they call it zip line is because it's just like pulling it with rubber band and shooting up. But this little guy could go as far as 100 kilometers distance. And not just that, it also can return. When it returns, I don't have the shot. When it comes back like into a net. It falls into a net. So that's a retrieval system, and this is very successful. Okay. So in Malaysia, we're very excited. As I say, this picture, this is under the 5G, but we also have what Pharma Niaga healthcare. What in the world is healthcare talking about drones? But they see the necessity. They can see it. Everyone sees it. In 2019, I was one of the one who organized the parcel drone competition in 2019 with Post Malaysia, and this was in Putrajaya at that time. And this is a POC, so it's a competition. We had about 20 teams. These are all the teams that came in, and the idea was for them to innovate their own drones and to actually facilitate the boxes where to carry. Because Post Malaysia, Post Malaysia in Sarawak, you know what they did now? In Sarawak is interesting because Sarawak, they use the drones to cross rivers. They send parcel to cross the rivers. If they don't cross the river, they have to go one round, and there's a lot of time wasted. So they did this, right? Just now I showed you this also. Malaysia's heavy load is lifted by a drone. This drone costs, I must say, this drone, am I being recorded? This drone costs $1 million or so. But this is on a research basis. So what do you think, Susie, what do you think you can use this drone for?
So
Check out the drone, look at the human there. Okay?
can it carry two?
You can carry 760 kilograms.
Oh.
This fella can carry 760 kilogram load. Now this is interesting and exciting, but why? Why? What can I use it for? Application.
To
Carry heavy loads, right?
Yeah, heavy loads.
Heavy loads. Okay. Okay, let me show you this photograph now. This is the motor. No, it's okay. The motor is the size of a cake. Can you see this motor here?
That's small.
If you put your thumb, also your thumb is bigger than this, right? But look at him. He's holding the motor the size of that. All right. All right. Just 1 second. This is the size of the propeller. Check this out. Can you see the propeller up there?
Yeah.
Can you see the propeller up there? Okay. This is the size of the propeller. This propeller, if I lie down, is a 6 feet long. The cost of this propeller is about 30,000 ringgit each. So they had 12. They had 12 propellers because I think it's an extra. I think 6 and 6, 12. Okay. But okay, this is my question to you. I need everyone to tell me. Drone delivery. Are we ready? Just yes or no? Cynthia, yes. Me, yes.
Yes.
Susie, yes.
Then you tell you this.
No, yes or no only.
Yes.
Then no.
Is it safe? Is it secure? Are regulations in place? Do you accept it? Do you accept it? Okay. 3 say yes, 1 say no. Let me give you this scenario. In the morning, what time you wake up? Say 7, 8 o'clock. Okay. You pull yourself to the bathroom, right? The only way to get yourselves awake is to open your eyes is what to brush your teeth, right? So okay, you're brushing your teeth, May is there brushing her teeth, in all her pajamas and everything. Then you look out the window. You are normally likened to listen to a nice bird there, minor bird or whatever, just giving you the opening to the morning. But instead, you have maybe about 500 drones flying over your head, over your house. Now, do you accept? Okay. So you must think of this, Technology is already there. If we want to have the drones flying tomorrow, also can. It can happen. But do you accept it will change your life? I don't know whether you see birds anymore. The birds will probably get so riled up and they'll disappear. But you have to look at not just the technical aspect, but also life itself. The quality of life you have when you bring in drone delivery. Now, I'm a drone advocate myself. Okay. However, there are certain things you have to put in as controls to measure the entry of drone delivery. So that's why I'm on the part with Ku here, who says that you have to don't just let them in, because once you open the Pandora box, you can't close it up again. All right. So one of the type of drones that we have, check this out. They have fixed wings. Okay, they can fly more than 100 kilometers. They can carry loads of 100 kilograms or more. You have VTOL. VTOL, what does VTOL mean? Anyone?
Vertical takeoff.
That's right. VTOL is vertical takeoff landing. That means that aircraft, if the aircraft, this is a bad representation, but if this is an aeroplane, okay, it basically can take off and it can fly. So this means that when it lands as a helicopter, it can land anywhere. Just to give you a snippet of it, we did some work with Sun Dawi Properties. You know what they're doing now? They're building houses now in the future with airwells to accommodate drones to land in your house. So let's say Susie want to buy a McDonald's, okay? The drone will land in the comfort of Your house, you don't have to walk outside in the garden there and see people, see everybody, your baju on, you never put on makeup, whatever. So it'll land in your house, in an enclosure, drop the stuff, takes off, then you go in, say, quick picture. So that's what the property developers are developing today, besides 3D printed houses, which they are also working on. So these are the things that you have to remember. So the last mile is always a problem. The last mile delivery is always a problem. So the drones are supposed to help and manage that, get that done. So there are so many things that you need to do. So do you think we need it? I'm talking about drones here. I'm showing you Mount Kinabalu. What's the significance? What's the reason? Anyone has been to Mount Kinabalu? Please go. I went to Mount Kinabalu, I climbed the mountain, my certificate is a colored certificate. You climb to the top, you get a colored certificate. You reach Laban Rata, you need a black and white certificate. Okay? But do it. Why? Number one, it's beautiful. Number two, it's in Malaysia. You go to Sabah, you're going into a beautiful flora, fauna. You go up, Mount Kinabalu is about 12,000 feet, about 14,000 feet, sorry. By 12,000 feet already, you will think you're in a Japanese garden. Seriously, you go in there, everything it looks like Sakura, whatever, because the wind is so strong. Everything is shaped. So it's like what bonsai. Everything is like in the bonsai. So it's incredible. So why I'm showing you this? Because of this. Laban Rata, let me go back to this slide. You see here, when you go up from the Timohon gate, you come up to Laban Rata, which is the midpoint. Okay, you have the night stop, so-called night stop. You leave at say 9 o'clock this morning. You walk up until about 4 p.m. You reach here. Then at 4 p.m. you just stay at the rest house. You rest up. You have your dinner. By 1 in the morning, that means if I go this morning at 9 o'clock at Timohon gate, 4 o'clock I'm where? At Laban Rata. From 4 o'clock I rest until about midnight. So midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning, then we make our final ascent. We are climbing the rest of the distance from Laban Rata to the summit, which we would reach in 4 hours. So we reach there at 6 o'clock to see the sunrise. So that's the idea. Okay? But Laban Rata is basically a big house. It's like a big dormitory, and everything that's taken up there is taken up by hand. So this guy, his name is I forgot his name, Abi Tang. He left the water tank empty all the way up there. When I was climbing up myself personally, I saw them carrying out the gas tank. Couldn't believe it. So it was a girl. I think she was like in her 20s, and she was in her slippers, the Japanese slippers, and she's carrying the tank. So I stopped her. I said, please stop. I take a picture with you because if I tell people, they won't believe me. They're still looking for this picture. I got it somewhere. But it's incredible. So this guy's story is incredible. Okay, he is a Kadazan Dusun, and he carries this all the time. It takes him about 6 hours. I mean, it's so. Can you remember the slide that I showed you just now that UTHM did the big one that takes up 760 kilograms of? Now, the drone can carry all the barang, all the stuff up to the mountain. Okay? Okay? It won't be easy because you are fighting against wet. You're fighting with winds. The strong winds is crazy. When I walked Kinabalu, I was thrown off my feet 3 times on the open rock. I literally felt someone shoving me, and I just fell. The wind is so strong. And that was not even during the wet part. I went during the right time. So this guy is carrying a refrigerator and washing machine. And all the stocks, all the Magini and everything, they carry it. So just imagine if we can have these companies these are my friends, Pan Aviation, Eastern, first year, they come up with this. Okay, this is not unreal, this flies, this literally flies. This is from Pan Aviation. So this guy flies 25 kilogram payload. So you can fly up to 50 kilometers. So this flight is an island hopper, or you can do from ship to shore kind of stuff. They have a bigger version. They are working on a bigger version, which is the 1 ton. They want to go up to 1,000 kilogram. Oh, that's bigger. So, but the technology is there now. But you see, in drone delivery, you come from two directions. One direction, like this guy, he's aviation based. He comes from the helicopter, from the helicopter, the what do you call it, the industry end, It's like left wing and right wing, look at Democrats and Republicans. So you have these guys coming from the Boeing, from the Airbus, and from the what do you call it, the Rolls Royce. They come and they build. They are more successful, but the cost of this will be humongous. But it's okay because they're working with DHL, so they have a big partner to actually work this thing out. But it's very costly. But in aviation, it's all about reliability and safety. So cost is something which is acceptable. So this is their project between DHL and Pan Aviation. So they literally use this, what do you call it? Use this to fly up and down. And this is how they do it. They're supposed to pick up from the land section and then send it to the boats. Because those days, actually, most of the seafarers, they come from, they don't disembark. No? The crew, they only stay on board for maybe 5-6 hours. They load their containers and then they're on their way. So just imagine, if you're a seaman, you look out your window, you see McDonald's there, where you cannot go and get your McDonald's or anything like that. You just have to eat what's on the boat. So this is one thing that they're doing it. All right. So you can see this is the specifications. You can carry up to 15 kilograms, maximum altitude 10,000 feet. You can fly up to 2.5 hours. So this is not battery operated. This is operated by piston engines. All right. So it also has the latest systems for navigation aid. So it's a real deal. This is the one that's in future. You know what they've done? It's very simple. They just use a Bell helicopter, remove the controls, remove everything, gutted the whole thing, and they use it as a drone. So this is in the future. It will carry up to one ton easily. This is another friend of mine. He's a British guy, and he's promoting this. This is a fixed wing. They're doing this in the UK right now. It can go up to 1,000 miles. And they have a lot of islands in the UK. And the south tip of Wales, coming down here, you have a batch of islands called the Scilly Islands. And this can you see that? So from the land to the island is about 50 kilometers. So they found that using the British Post, it's beautiful, right? How many people you think stay on this place? Maybe 50, 100 people only stay. So it's like, but British postal system is an obligation. They have to send. There's a letter they must send. Cannot go, you're too far, you cannot send. They have to send. So they're figuring out ways of doing it. So they're using this drone capability to actually send stuff. So at that time it was still POC. I don't know whether it's gone straight ahead. From a Malaysian context, we have this we call it the urban drone delivery. So this is a reality. I'm not just talking about things that are not here. This is a reality that's happening today. Under the sandbox, we did the NTIS, and this was actually very early on, 2021. Air Asia, and this is my friend Saravanan, of course we know Sarah from here. So he's doing the drone delivery here. I want to show you this short video.
The collaboration collaboration between NTIS and AirAsia today is to develop a third drone sandbox in Malaysia, specifically focusing on delivery drones. This is the first drone delivery in Malaysia using extended visual line of sight. Drones have the potential of instant gratification. You imagine a scenario that you order something at your home on AirAsia Super App, and 20 minutes later, it's arriving in front of your house. Before this, we restricted it to largely agricultural use cases, but now with drone deliveries, you've opened up a new sector for drones to come into, last mile delivery for consumer items. So you can imagine the use case for this is not just your food or your usual deliveries, but also deliveries to places where it's difficult to access, deliveries into interior areas, rural areas, deliveries of medicine in flood-hit areas. And today we do a payload of about 2 kilograms t-shirts to a 5-kilometer distance for delivery here in the Vulnerable in Magic. And I do believe, having talked to the regulators and looking at the drive and the energy of Magic and also AirAsia, we're really aggressive. I think it's a great partnership, and I think Malaysia could lead the way in drone delivery, and that will transform e-commerce. And with transformation of e-commerce, we'll get a lot more new entrepreneurs, and that's what I'm driving.
So this was a POC done to promote drone delivery, and at that time they were finding different ways of which how can you actually have drone delivery at the same time manage the drones without any human intervention. So it came out with stuff like this, where the drone can land and then refuel, whatever, recharge by itself, and then fly up again. So these are the different things. Alpha Swift is actually, they actually managed to get a few $100,000 worth of money, where they actually did this, what do you call it, the flight. They were supposed to do 400 hours of flight with 5 kg payload, and to verify the best way of doing this. But the point being, when you're doing stuff like this, you really have to have deep pockets. So the problem is that right now in Malaysia, these small companies, they don't have the resources to pour in as the bigger companies. So sometimes, if, like, say for instance, if you're talking about this, if you develop your own motor or whatever, your own design, things like that, the problem is to send it in for aviation certification. It's very, very expensive, and it's also very long. So sometimes you cannot survive that. So you have to see how that goes in. So it's this. The idea was just simple. So, like, say for instance, Susie, you carry your phone, you like as though you're ordering from the Grab. So that was the idea. So using that, the rider, between the rider and the drone, to actually deliver your thing. Oh yeah, what happened? So what happened on the 19th of April 2021? Any guesses?
No, but
You thought the next slide was going to come, right? So these are where you have ideas that come about and coming to a practical set. And this is what happened.
Oh.
So we have the technology. NASA actually used this idea of supporting the rover. And what's the rover's name? But the name of this drone is Ingenuity. So the Ingenuity actually went with the Mars rover, and they sent it across to Mars, and it looked like this. This is the graphic, but that's the real shot. That's a real photograph taken from the Mars rover, and it is just so unbelievable. It's so incredible, but it really did happen. So we not only can fly drones in our world, but we can fly drones in other worlds as well. So come back to drone delivery. If technically anything can be done, so you just need a visionary. You just need someone to say we need to do something. The engineers will figure it out and they'll do it. Can you guess this? Can you guess the size of that? Can you guess the size of that drone?
Looks small, looks mass. Looks small.
This size of this drone is a little bit bigger than the size of your tissue box.
That's very small. Wow.
And you know, this again was a POC. So the first time it flew up to about 90 meters, stayed up for about half a minute, about 1 minute and a half, and it ended. And since then, it has done many missions to go up, and it saved the rover a lot of time because the rover can only see where it sees, which is like I can only see here at this drone level. So what this did was that it helped to navigate, it helped to plan the radius for the Mars missions, and that's why was very successful. And the interesting thing about this is fully solar powered. So although you fly for 1 or 2 minutes, after it probably need to recharge maybe one day I think. But anyway, the point of it is that we can do such enormous task. Okay, so from the perspective of students, from perspective of anyone, I always tell them these 5 things. You have to educate yourself when you're doing drones, things like that. Number 1. Number 2, you have to regulate yourself. You need to know what your uh, what your limits are. I would say what you can do. It's just like if you take a drone and you fly a drone, how much of percentage that you think you can go? You need to have that tolerance level. Collaborate. Number 3 is actually very important. Collaborate is that when you're starting out or when you're going with other other things with drones, always link up with people who can be your mentors or who can be very good at giving you sound advice and work together. So like for instance, when you flew the drone, did you fly when your brother was there?
Yeah.
Huh?
So
So
I wanted to try.
so he didn't teach you enough.
Thought he was studying by.
But sometimes when the drone flies all over the place, there's no way you can.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have what we call the drone soccer that you fly inside enclosed cage. In that cage, and you make mistakes, so doesn't matter. Your drone is still inside the safety of the cage, and that's how we teach young students, young kids, to actually have better competencies and improve their confidence. It's actually all ages now. And of course, be proactive at all times. Seek out new courses that you can actually go out to. And lastly, buy insurance. If you're an existing drone, what they call it, enthusiast, you fly a lot, especially if you're making money from your drones, take the step. Go up to a level where you need to protect yourself financially and also from liability. So insurance is very important. Okay, so coming back to this, there isn't enough of space for me to put the number of applications here. There will be probably a grandniece of yours or a distant relative of yours who will come up with a different use or usage of a drone. Now they're using drones for fire eradication, for the high-rise towers. They shoot bombs, they shoot bombs of CO2 into buildings to try to put out fires. They even have drones who wash windows, right? Wash windows. You can have drones to actually change light bulbs. Also, just imagine have you been to the airport, KLIA airport? You notice the ceiling is very high, right?
Yeah.
Huh? So we could have drones that can fly to the ceiling to undo what you call it, the light fixtures, change the bulbs, things like that, they're happening. And of course, in so many medical lines, the lists are endless. Okay? So that's ending that part of it. How much more time do we want to do?
Well, an hour more.
So you okay? We go into the case study with Google Street View. Okay. So this is a case study. I used to work in Google Street View under Fresnel Media, and just talking to you about how the relative of drones and Google Street View. Google Street View is something that was a concept in those days. It was just an idea born out again in 2007. Actually, in 2000 and 2004, Google Earth came out. That's when Google bought the what do you call it, the company that owned all the images they used to shoot all the satellite. I cannot remember the name of it. Okay, so they wanted to expand their horizons in technology advancements. You know, today, if I tell you to go to Taman Tun from here, or if I tell you to go to Klang from here, what would you need to do? You need to pull out a map, right? And the amount of spaghetti highways that we have. You want to turn left, you need to turn right. To turn right, you need to turn left, right? Because you got the trumpet interchanges or the clover leaves and everything. So with the advancement of Google Earth, advancement into Google Street View, you come into a lot of good images. So the historical, the innovations and the new features of it, you can see here, the mobile integration of Street View is seamless into Google Maps. That makes it the solution for the individual. Okay, and right now Google is integrating their AI, which is a bit frightening, but it's happening already. I think in 2 years ago, if we're talking about Chat GPT or AI or whatever, we would not be able to understand what it is. If you tell me Chat GPT, say a year and a half ago, you know, difficult. But now, we all use Chat GPT, right? Yes? You know, coming to Chat GPT, if I'm talking about Chat GPT, I have a right to use ChatGPT because I'm at this age already. But I feel very sad for the young students who are using ChatGPT because you're just giving them the answers and they're not working for it. It's akin to actually having relationships with somebody, personal relationships. We had that. We played on the playground. We played on the fields and everything. Our kids they play with virtual people. We ask your children how many friends they have. They'll say, "Oh, I have 300 friends, whatever." But is that the reality of it? It's not. All right. So Google Street View started off to secure more travelers and tourists in the digital area. And this is of course the famous Pac-Man. You see this logo all around. Okay. So the idea of virtual reality integrating from Google Street View is to teleport ourselves to a most remote areas that you can think of without actually traveling in. You can actually climb the Fuji Mountain all the way with Google Street View because they put their cameras on top of their backs and they move on. All right. So travelers also need to be confident. Now we are confident. Say like yesterday, I have been to this location I think 4 years ago, but I would not be as confident if I do not have my Waze or Google Maps to come here. At least we know that we will end up in the right section. And interestingly, last night my brother-in-law, he's from Kuching, he came down. He's staying in my niece's place. So he's staying in one end of Taman Tun, and he thought he's confident enough he can find his way to my place. He couldn't because he was over dependent on his Waze, and then he couldn't get Wi-Fi or whatever, so he just got lost. So 15, probably a 10-minute journey taking about 45 minutes. So that's the thing. We are also looking for personalization, all right? So the thing about Google Street View in my time was Google Street View started off by having the cars running around the roads, okay? All right. So at my time, we started using Google Street View for the inside view. When you're driving, for instance, when you're driving anywhere, you look at a building and you look at it and say, I like to explore the building, but I'm unable to explore because it's always on the road. So the Google Street View inside gives you the ability to actually drive, walk right into the area. Like you see some of the samples here. Hotels actually are very popular with Google Street View because for a person to book a hotel, the first thing they want to know is how the hotel look clean or not. Is it clean? It has that kind of thing. And these are some of the hotels that we actually shot. But diving into how it relates from Google Street View on the car, you have driving on the road, you have going into the inside of the buildings, but there was no overview of it. So that's why we did Hawkeye. Hawkeye is integration of drones over subject areas. So this case study is I love this because I actually lived right through this and saw that it was very good. So it is more effective when you have a Google Street View from the air. Just imagine from the air, I can click down onto the road, click straight into your hotel. So it is seamless, and that's what was done. But getting the shot in, have you heard of this hotel, Tuna Maya? It's on Tioman Island, and literally, it looks like one of those Jurassic Park kind of sceneries. Look at it. It has a mountain at the back there. It's in the middle of nowhere. But Google Street View, when we went and we did the shots inside here, we brought it to life. Because for people to actually go in and, if I'm a head of a household, I want to bring my family and extended family, maybe 10 or 20 people, go and have a holiday there. Will I have the confidence of just looking at brochures and booking for Tuna Maya? I won't have the confidence. So I want to literally check it out first, see whether they have what they promised, and whether the hotel looks clean, and whether it looks, reliable. So Google Street View answered that question, and from the Hawkeye version, as you can see here, we did this even with Savannah Cove here. Okay, so this we managed to integrate the locations, the pins, the points, everything, even through Waze. Waze, you have Google Maps and you have Waze. Google Maps was under Google. Waze was doing so well. Then they did so well, a lot of people were using Waze, even me at the time. So what happened was Google bought Waze. So actually now Waze is actually owned by Google Maps as well. So you can have location verifications, all of these things. Yeah. Even if you have your own business, like say for instance, this location, you can go in and go to Google Maps and verify your business. When you get this, it's better. And one key point, people talk about social media. Okay, this is a reality. Who owns Facebook? Who owns Facebook? Meta, right? Meta. So a lot of people like to promote everything they do in Facebook. Okay, but the search engine is who? Google search, right? So Google is one entity, Facebook is one entity as well. So what I'm saying here is that you need to concentrate and focus all your promotional energy into Google itself. So Google Maps is the way to do it. So what we call local SEO is actually more important than SEO itself. Okay, that's a bit of a point over there. So if you're promoting your business, you want to promote your location first. And most importantly, the reviews in your location, in your Google Maps, is actually the most important thing. A lot of people don't realize it. But your reviews in Google Maps, please, if you have any friends, any relatives, any businesses, you advise them, Google Maps reviews, more reviews in there, you're putting in more power into Google. So Google will prioritize Google Maps rather than prioritize Facebook. Why should they care how much of energy you're putting in Facebook? Because it's a different entity. So there you have it. That's the reason why you need to remember that. So Google Hawkeye and Google Street View, it provides an impressive overview. Right? Let's see here. Um, this is another example of actually indoor Google that we did for this chocolate factory. Okay. Here it optimizes your profile in local SEO with Google Street View. So the trend of using Google Street View, even if you do 360, what do you call it? You do your 360 view in your office and upload it into Google My Business, you get better coverage. Right? So it looks like this, and it's verified. So a lot of businesses, and a lot of businesses, they have a line there that says, "Do you want to verify your business?" In other words, if you don't verify it, you know what will happen or not? Other people will suffer. Other people will take and they'll take it over. And I do a lot of talks to real estate agents as well. And actually, there are some real estate agents who actually verify the locations themselves. So I give you an example. I advise property developers one thing, and there are a lot of property developers that we tell them, now they know, but in the early days we told them, you need to verify your business. Then they said, why is so important Google Street View? I said, you need to verify your business because your real estate agents who are promoting your place, they have already verified your business. That means to say that if Ku is a developer, then May, she's a real estate agent, she sees his business is not verified, she goes to his business and verifies it. So what's most important, her telephone number is in his list now. No? So now if anyone who from the street, anyone who's interested in that building, that property, the number is whose number, not your number, is May's number. So that means May will get the sale. Okay, when May gets the sale, she makes a sale and she collects a commission from Ku. Okay, she collects how many percent is real estate? You get your percentage from there. However, if he had verified himself, then all the contacts will come to him directly, and he will just close the sale himself. So he's losing money. So that's why Google Street View is so important to manage and manage well. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why we did it. And then you look into your tabs and you look at your insights, you will be able to know who actually called you from where or they travel from where. So these are the statistics which are actually very, very important as well. Okay. So these are a few more hotels which you see. You can do a project overlay as well. And this is one of the projects that we will talk about, where we integrate aerial photography with Google Street View. Okay. Let me just go this change of approach. Okay. For this, you have the beneficiaries of using Google Street View for the travel agency, businesses, and of course the tourists themselves. Okay. This is the project I want to talk to you about, which is the Penang VR project. Currently, is active. You can actually download it on your Penang Visit Penang app. So we did, if you're familiar with Penang, everyone's familiar with Penang, right? So you have Georgetown here. So what we did was, we actually took the drone and we went up about 100 meters, which is about just below the 400 feet line, and we took 80 different hawk-eye pictures of this. Okay, so this is how the pictures turn out. Now these are panoramic shots. That means the drone, we had a camera there that we shoot one way, north, south, east, and west for every shot. But actual fact, we shot about 8 pictures. There's about 8 pictures that we shot. And you can see here, these are the panel pictures, and those are the points that we did. So total of about 80 shots. So this is a panel shot. This is a typical panel shot. So if you're talking from this line to that line, it actually is an overlap. One big overlap, which is a 360. And we did one shot from the top and one panoramic shot and a vertical shot as well. So you can see here, this is how we integrate from the sample of the 360 shot. We shot here, then we can go down to the ground, and from the ground we can link up with inside view. So this is a seamless flow into any subject. And the beauty of doing 80 shots within within Georgetown area was that we managed to achieve 5 from drone pinpoint to another pinpoint. Okay. So this is setting the pinpoints here. And this is our production site where we actually flying. So we literally had to close up roads just to get our camera flying up. We took about a few weeks to do this because Penang is a very small. We were limited by the number one by the sunlight, number one. Number two also by the traffic, because Penang is everything is a lot of traffic. So it was interesting. Okay. So this is the insights, analytics, and here this is a sample of another thing that we do using drone, taking the pictures of drones and then putting it against a map. Say, for instance, this was a development here. We have the picture that I don't have that. Picture developed here. People want to know exactly where your project is. So drones actually give you that. So the first thing when you buy property is location, location, location. Although for Chinsun will say location, location, and timing. But here you have the ability to actually know who your neighbors are. Last time when I did one project for one client was Masing, the client said, "Oh, shoot there, don't shoot there." So I said, "Okay, fine." I was wondering why why don't shoot there? So shoot there, fine. Shoot there, fine. Shoot here, cemetery. So you see, the power of drones is that if you have a 360, you actually can see all around. You cannot hide. You cannot hide the information that you have there. So when you buy a property, especially if you're buying a landed property, you have to be certain. And especially if you're buying condominiums, you gotta see the two words of tanah lapang. When you see like your tall building, then you see on the side there tanah lapang. I tell you, that will be taken up by another high-rise building and it'll be blocking your entire view. So you have to be mindful of what is surrounding your area. So anyway, the reality is this area is literally a very, very big Chinese island without people, of course, for sales point. But we are part of the problem as well, in the sense that these images are going to Hong Kong, China, or overseas, and then they buy on the basis of those pictures. But these pictures here, secondary. Alright. So these are the insights and all. I won't go into that. These are all the locations and analytics. So, long story short, I would say that drones, especially in the application for aerial photography, is incredible, and it can be expanded, and you can see that this is happening all the time, right? So right now we can actually use our smartphone. With our smartphone we can use and do anything. So actually it's really frightening if you look at it. So we have demo sets as well with our VR specs. Incorporate that. Bangsa South, this was another early project where we use the project. Are you familiar with the Kampung Kerinci actually?
Yeah.
It was Kampung Kerinci. So I did this about 20 years ago. This was how we actually shot. We take shots like this, and then we merge it together. So these are called near verticals. So this is the final product. So you come back to that, you see how we do it. So sometimes when you fly this area is difficult. And also drones are very good for what we did. I had another set of photographs taken a few years before. You can see this footprint here is already Bangsa South, already cleared the area already. But prior to this, I think I shot another 5-10 years prior to that of Kerinci, Kampung Kerinci itself. We took the pictures of the existing buildings. One of the reasons why drones are so important nowadays, especially, is that if you're a property developer and if you're buying a piece of land to invest in it, but you have existing tenants on the land, okay? So at the end of the day, you want to clear them out because you want to build whatever property you want to build. So this one actually, Kampung Kerinci, they're actually all squatters. So what happened was we took the pictures of the entire property, or with all the squatters there. Then we went to court. Why did we go to court? We took those images and went to court, and we stamped it and we dated with our lawyers. Why we did that is because this doesn't only happen to squatters, but also happen for other developments as well. If you know that you're building on a piece of land, overnight they'll build a kampong house. So they'll build structures there, and they say that they have been dwelling there for time, and you have to compensate them for relocation. That's easily 15 to 25,000 one location. So this is what happened. So what we did is we did this, and it's sort of up to the developer whether he want to pay or not. But sometimes they do pay. No? They do pay because they don't want any problems. I remember another incident I did one highway project in Penang on Seberang Jaya, the PORR, Penang Outer Ring Road. I remember that very clearly. That stretch of land actually goes into the paddy field. You know what happened, no? Very interesting. These guys, the government, they sent the surveyors there. So the surveyors just planted, they planted everything, and then they will make their measurement and things. So the local folk there asked, so what are you doing? What are you doing then? They said, oh, we're going to have a highway coming across this corridor. 50-meter corridor, this highway will happen. Within a month, there were little dwellings on the corridor lined up. The dwellings, they built their own houses. So they can
given
relocation compensation.
Wow.
This is reality. What I'm telling you is from my experience, what really happened. So that's why when you do drones, there is a sense of secrecy when you fly. You don't let people know what you're doing. So that's one of the great things. Actually, drones save money when property developers or these big consultant, engineering consultants, when they complain or whatever, they must understand that using drones saves a lot of cost and a lot of money for them. So very proud of Bangsa's house.
Yes.
Now it's a thriving community. SP Satya, another developer. I also did aerial photography for them from, you can see here, this is Port Klang right up to the city. So this whole area was mapped out. And this is one of the reasons why I'm very familiar with all the highways in Klang Valley because I had to work on it. Kasas Highway, those are actually very important. If you look at the highway system, this is the divert between them. You have your what do you call it? Your federal highway that's in the middle. Below it is Kasas Highway. Kasas the what do you call it? We call it Shalam Expressway. Then on top of the federal highway, you have the NKBE. So the Kasas Highway was built to actually take all the heavy traffic from the south and go towards Port Klang. So if you're driving on the federal highway, you'll notice there's no lorries. When you drive on the federal highway, you do not have big lorries. The big lorries are all plying the Shalam Expressway, especially if they're coming from the southern part. And that's why the Kasas Highway is actually a very dangerous highway because the trucks, they think they are on the Formula One, no? On the Kasas Highway. So from Taman Petaling, right? From Taman Petaling, they cross over Subang, go to Kemuning, they go to Klang. That road is very straight road, no? So and then if you follow that line, it goes straight into Pulau Indah. Pulau Indah is the home of Westport. So it all goes there. So at nights, you have all this illegal racing, because the road is really straight. So the police have a tough time with them. But anyway, so these are the highway system that we do. This is another, this is in Damansara. This area, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to be Pavilion Damansara. This one was under DC Tower under Hong Yong headquarters. This area here is currently now sitting with Pavilion Damansara. Pavilion Damansara, how much per square feet?
Where says Evolve Mall?
Not here. Oh, hang on. If you want to see Evolve Mall is here. Evolve Mall is where the Subang Airport is. Yeah.
It's the other side of London.
If you see,
This is the Klang Valley.
yeah, this is the Klang Valley. So
What is that? That patch over there?
this one, this is your house. This is the Aitam Forest Reserve.
Okay.
This is Aitam. So you are staying on the fringe, I
That's
think.
right.
8 years.
So this one, I have been monitoring this since the 90s. It is getting smaller. Smaller.
The
So
problem
this
is
one,
that
you as a community, you need to protect this.
But this in PJ, I'm in jail.
No, I'm talking about the forest reserve. So you can't say I'm from PJ will kill you. Puchong? Okay,
That's
Jordan.
where
no,
This bottom
the
part is
slum part of it.
this bottom part is the Puchong.
That's the
This is Puchong side. This is Bukit Jalil side.
So there's a forest where
There's a forest there.
It's a forest.
You access through the Putong Gateway.
It's very nice, but it is getting smaller and smaller.
I had a chance to go in there one time.
It's
very soon it disappear from the map.
yeah. You
No,
gotta
it's not.
watch this.
The last attempt was the Sultan of Selenggang's, I don't know, company or whatever,
Is it?
wanted to get some percentage of it, the land, but I think it was stopped.
This one is actually a highly contested area. So
Very. The other one is the Bukit Cheraka area.
Bukit Cerata's this area here. This also is getting smaller and smaller. Setia Alam, I did for them from day one. Setia Alam, 4,400 acres. So when we did this, why did we do this? Why did we do this whole thing? Just to give you an idea, Setia Alam is address is Meru Klang. Now you are from PJ, you want to buy a house in Meru Klang. So they changed the name to Setia Alam, okay? And we did this whole map to show that with the promise of NKVE from Damansara to the Setia Alam toll, which was then we were building at that time, it would be 15 minutes. And literally it's 15 minutes. So what does that mean? I'm building a property which is 4,400 acres. Okay, it's huge. Huh? Taman Tun is about 600 acres, so you can just give you an estimate of how big it is. Technology Park is about 700 acres. So you see how many times it was. Now, the promise is that we're building very nice houses here. And if you're upgrading from your PJ home, which you feel a bit old, just upgrade 15 minutes away, you can get a very nice, decent house here. So that was, and this did the job. This picture here, we printed size of this wall from here to the end. What you see here. So when the customers walk in, the potential customers, I say it's location, 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 right? The customers walk in, the first thing they did was they look at the map. And look at the map, you can see, oh, this, I know this, I know. From point to point, when they could link up the areas, immediately they bought. So when we did this, at end of the day, I didn't charge them enough.
Yeah, but it's also a function of the public transport system, isn't it?
No, it was just the NKVE. So it was linked, the NKVE was already there from Damansara, it was established. Damansara, next one was the Shalam and Klang. No? So Setia Alam was the one that was built by Setia Alam themselves. The Setia themselves as Setia, SP Setia. And by the way, why does SP Setia mean? What is SP? It's a very old company. Syarikat Pembinaan.
Oh.
All these companies, all these big companies come from
Small
small company.
construction.
The other company that I worked from day one was Gamuda. Gamuda Construction last time. The directors do not speak English also. I'm serious. This is before the Tan Sri Bin came in. So when I went there, the Gamuda used to do all the infrastructure for the government schools, bridges, buildings, and all. The most notable building at that time, when I went to visit the HQ, was in Klang Town. The bridge built by them. That's built by them. So their office was just nearby there. So I went there, and then later on, what happened was, this is always a story I tell. What happened was that they pitched for the Kesas Expressway. So I was on team B, they were on team A. I was supporting IGM and Sunway and Road Builder under the concessionaire. They were under Gamuda and another company I cannot remember. No, I don't think so. I can't remember. But the main point was this: I was under the Pahan royalty. They were under the Perak royalty. So that time Perak was king, so they won the project. And then the daughter was the chairman. So this being said, after they finished the Kesas Highway, then we saw them they exploded. They went no looking.
That's the Shah Alam and the Setia Alam.
Setia Alam is here. But then now, if you take the NKVE and you try to decide, oh, painful. It's all jam all the way from Damansara all the way every evening. Is
I
really,
don't
really
like
bad.
to use
Someone's
that.
right.
Klang. It's
So
really,
how
really
much
bad.
did you work with Ho Chin Sun on this?
No, I didn't work with Ho Chin Sun.
Ho Chin Sun does the same thing also, but he
He does it
doesn't
differently.
start
He
with
doesn't
drones.
use.
No. Ho Chin Sun started with he doing his own maps.
Yes, correct.
His own maps.
So how does he do his maps without drones?
Those days he used to sell he's a researcher. Ho Chin Sun is a researcher. So he goes to the land office, he goes
So
everywhere.
maybe traditional
Then
way.
he does the traditional way,
Yeah.
and he used to sell those maps. Because as a property developer, each of the map, which was paper, my dear,
Yes,
paper, he sell about 12,000 ringgit.
But
Big one.
was
Because the data, the data was who's owning this plot, who's owning this commercial plot. That's what
By
that's what
title,
people
by
need to
title,
know.
is it?
Yes,
By title.
yes.
Whereas your picture doesn't show title, right?
Yeah.
No, mine is photograph. You see, we don't show so much of data. We need to show because who's our customer?
So
Your
what if,
customer is
what is his map and your map correlate, does it make any difference?
You should correct.
Overlap as a layer, you put the
Yeah.
title one layer,
We were talking about that last time, but then too much of information, you don't want to, something you got to milk it.
no, what you do is, you, actually geospatial information is all about layering.
Yeah,
Layering. So you layer one layer, you can have 20, 50 layers of this.
It didn't
That's a
materialize
signal for you.
Okay, you know,
That's
for
a
the stop.
signal for you.
Is it?
Okay, yeah, next.
TRX is another customer. They actually wanted to do Google Street View, but I spoke to the general manager of this building. They got no money.
Really?
But the developers, this Mulia is a developer. How the Mulia got no money?
Their chairman is in jail in Jakarta, whatever. I don't know. Lah. And then the one MPB issue came out, so they needed what we had because what we did was we actually drew in the road system first. You see, what we do is we draw in from the aerial photographs, also we draw in the maps for them for Google Maps itself. So that's why it's important. This Gamuda Cove is this is a good example. Gamuda Cove, we did the aerial photography for them, everything for them. And you're familiar with Gamuda Cove, right?
Yeah.
On the way to the airport. So we had to teach the algorithm. We had to teach the algorithm to find the toll plaza. That means in Google Maps, then you know how to Waze it. So we actually drew this in on the algorithm to be so that people, you want to go to Gamuda Cove, because prior to that, if you want to go Gamuda Cove, the way was the way behind. So because they just built the road, they just built a highway, so that we had to teach the algorithm that there is a highway there, that's a toll plaza that goes into the Gamuda Cove. This is their project lah. So last time, every time I go to Gamuda Cove, I have to come from behind here and do the work. It's terrible road. Now you can actually come through the main highway. So this is the aerial photograph that we did. This is how we did. This is a technical drawing. We use a drone for this. So what we do is we shoot at a certain radius, 300-meter radius, all the way here. So then now, if you go to Gamuda Cove on Google Street View, you can just click here, and you can just click, jump like a frog, and just see the same feeling as you have when you are flying, when you're on the road, when you're doing a road Google Street View. So we did that experience for them. And then of course, we went down into the house, into the show house, so that the customer could have their experience to go into the show units. So this is very successful, especially when your location is unknown. Prior to this Gamuda Cove, nobody knows. See, that's the reason why they did their what park?
So no science park.
No. Inside here they got the water park. They need something to bring people here. So that's what we did here. Okay. So all good. So thank you. Any questions? Any questions that I can actually?
We have asked to.
Yeah, you guys have been very good and very proactive. I'm very happy. So you remember what I told you just now, how your pitch and your pitch up, pitch down. So if you're thinking of flying a drone, you must remember that lah. Remember your pitch up, pitch down, your which is your rotation, and of course your roll. You can do it like a yoga exercise or one of your exercises.
That's like dancing.
Yeah.
Like that.
What do you think? Is it enough? 3 hours, 45 minutes.